So a lot of people are asking about what happened with Kate and I, and honestly, what happened was she started becoming friends with Gypsy, and she started saying that I was the one stirring the pot, and that I was the one instigating for her and Gypsy not to speak to each other or to have beef with each other, which I'll still drop those messages and screen recordings down here for you guys to see still at the end of the video. But that was not true. So when she started calling me a liar, that was when I had an issue. Now, I will say that I wasn't sure, or I didn't understand what was happening. And I'm happy that this follower on TikTok messaged me this morning because she gave me a lot of insight. So she's a therapist, right? And she said to me, I just want to share my thoughts. I believe that Kate may have borderline personality disorder. I do believe her history as far as Munchausen by proxy victim, but she definitely has borderline traits. The constantly going off social media and coming back, the affiliation now with Gypsy, I think it reads pertaining to her just being dangerous to herself. I'm not sure if it's self-harm or whatever, but it's all an attention ploy. She said, I just wanted to share my inner psychology, mental health work thoughts with you. So I let her know this is very insightful because I was like a deer caught in headlights. This is all so crazy to me. She was like, I just work with so many individuals with personality disorders that you just recognize it. You should totally look it up. It starts to make sense. I think it is a clout thing, but it's totally borderline. It's sad, really, because Gypsy Rose is the female Charles Manson. Now, this is what she wrote. It's one thing to forgive someone. It's completely two-faced to grab the internet's attention and make like the whole thing is affecting your everyday living to just be friends with her. That's borderline behavior. I said, this really helped put things in perspective for me. I appreciate this. And I also asked her what was her thoughts on Bree, because when you understand somebody or understand what's going on, you know how to navigate through it. And that's kind of how I wanted to react to all this, right? So she said, you're welcome. I just don't want you getting caught up in the middle of these people. They can be very toxic. And she said, Bree, oh Lord, that one is hard. I can't tell if it's a true mental illness or if it's a personality disorder. See, there's a difference. You can medicate mental illness. You cannot medicate personality. And I feel like she shows signs of bipolar disorder. I've noticed that she has times where she'll post and come off very manic. And then there's times where she's just weird and oddly lays low. I think people have the idea that bipolar, your moods immediately fluctuate, and that's not always the case. Like weeks of manic and then weeks of depression, so on and so forth. But then part of me wonders if she may be slightly on the spectrum as to how easily influenced she is by Gypsy. She would be very high functional, but something's not right about her. I said, okay, this makes a lot more sense. She's like, I'm glad to help in this cluster F from hell. Borderlines tend to find each other and they feed off of each other's chaos. Now, whatever Bree has, I think it's just a denial aspect, and she's never going to admit it that she has it. She does not seem to be someone who would stay on their medications. That's just my opinion anyway. So I said to her, at this point, they are just people that should be in straitjackets. She said, well, basically. I said, well, something. I said, I'm interested to see what happens. So she did say what she thinks will happen, which I'm not going to say because we don't know what'll happen. But I just said to her, like, she said, possibly 2 weeks. I swear I've watched things like this in scenarios in a psych hospital I work at, and literally the same cycle over and over. I said, wow, so it's like a game of Pac-Man. She said, exactly. She says, I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose, but I do work forensic population in psychology, and I'm working towards my master's. So that was her insight. And she did say that she was like, I didn't see it in the beginning with Kate, but my red flag radar went up with the constant removal of her social media page, and then following Gypsy and commenting sealed the envelope. So I said to her, you know, it's funny because my best friend did say that it was a red flag earlier on, back when Kate and I were cool, that she was coming on and off of social media. But at the time I was like, you know, we're not victims of Munchausen. Like, I feel like it's kind of unfair for us to say that it's a red flag, you know, because what if she really just can't handle it and she's trying to hang in there to be an advocate, but it's like tough days, like, you know, that could really be what it is, and maybe we're like prejudging her, is what I was saying. And she was like, no, that's just a red flag. Like, I hear what you're saying, but that's a red flag. And like I said, because I haven't walked a day in her shoes, I just felt like I couldn't really speak on that. So to see that that's like red flags for even like a therapist, that was interesting to me. And that's definitely something I'll notice in the future with other people, not necessarily social media, but people in general. And she says, yeah, it's attention ploy, possibly a little motive for views, but it's attention, and that's like their fuel. And the thing is, borderlines are just born that way. They are created that way. That stems from nurture, which is sad, but I say pity the child, not the adult. It's up to them to take their trauma and utilize it for something positive, or they don't, and they do weird stuff like this. So I'm just gonna say, in conclusion of all of this, I just felt like I really needed to make this video because I didn't have an understanding of this situation or them. But now that I do have an understanding, I realize it's like me being in a psych ward fighting with people or arguing with people. Like, it doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? And it's like a constant like attention seeking and manipulation and like flipping the script. And I don't know people that shady in my personal life because I'm very protective in my personal life. I still think the situation is disgusting. Could I have handled the situation different? Probably. Would I in the future? Probably. But I also would never stand up for someone in a situation like this ever again. Ever. Just to see how things have played out. You can fool me once, but anybody else, I'm just not doing that again. And I see why other larger creators didn't even want to touch this with a 10-foot pole. I get it now, because too many creators get burnt. So this is just my 2 cents. I just wanted to show you guys this. I thought it was great because I was asking one of my friends that's a nurse, like, if she had any insight on this situation yesterday. And at the time it was kind of late in the evening, so she was like, girl, my brain is not all the way there right now. Let's talk about this tomorrow. And it just so happened that this follower sent me this and was like, I just want you to be safe. So I just wanted to share this with you guys so you guys know. And this is my 2 cents. You guys have a great day. Bye bye for now.